Hi guys, welcome to the new video of this Linux tutorial series. In this video, the agenda of this video is to discuss or to do the process management. So as you all know, you can do process management with multiple commands. One of the commands that we already discussed in last few sessions is the top command. Very detailed way we discussed. You can check out that command. It's a very good command to do process management. But now we want to do something extra with some other things. So basically, their top command not gonna help us. In this video, we're gonna discuss how to do process management with a command called ps. So before that, you need to understand few things. So we're gonna discuss this ps command in very detail and the options of ps command. But what is ps command? So ps command is a command in Linux that will show us the processes, all the running processes, along with their PIDs and multiple information. Now, what are those multiple information? So let's jump to the terminal and see the things. What are those? So if I write the ps command, see, it showed me multiple things. So let's take up this and discuss the four columns. What are those four columns? So first column we have is the PID, then we have the TTY, then we have time, and then we have command. So basically these are the four columns you can see. And what does it means? So you, as all you know, the command or the file or any application in hard disk known as program. So if you want to run this program, we need to move to the RAM, as you all know, because CPU will only read from RAM. So if you move this program to RAM, then it's known as process. And as I already told you, every process, to identify it uniquely, every process is allocated with one ID that is known as process ID. So this is first column is showing as process ID of that process. Second is TTY. So TTY is, you can think of terminal. Now what does this mean? Let me first discuss other two columns, then we come back to this because it's very interesting for us. So time, how much time the process is taking for of CPU in the terms of hour, minutes, and then seconds. Basically, this shows us. And what command? So as you all know, the program, or we can say application, or the command, these all are same thing. So these commands in hard disk, or this command files like date command or cal command, these are like only the files, executable files. So these files or these commands in hard disk known as program, but as soon as we move it to RAM, they all known as process, date process, cal process. So basically this process with some xyz PID, how much time it's taking of CPU, but this process started with which command. So that last column will tell us the which command. If you see in the last line, so we started ps, we run this command ps. So ps is also another command like date or cal. So but if we want to run this ps, we need to move it to RAM, and as soon as we run it, it automatically moves the content of this ps command file from hard disk to RAM. So that's why ps is again also known as process. So that's why it's showing ps also as a process in under the ps. So this is one thing. Now what is TTY? So basically TTY in the Linux means terminal. So in the second or third video of my Linux tutorial where I'm discussing the features of Linux, so there I discuss like in Linux multiple users can log in at the same time. Now how it's possible? I showed you demo in this and that video. Like at the same time, user one also logged in to the OS, user two, and many users and can log in to the same time, and all can do their own works in the same operating system. Basically, not the other. In the same operating system, these are the users, and they can log in parallelly and do their own parallel tasks. So the first terminal where the first user get login, that is which one? This one basically, and we are logging with the which user. As I told you, this first thing will told us the name of user. So we are logged in with the user called root. So this is the first terminal. That is white screen is known as terminal. And if you want to know more about terminal, what a shell, what are prompts, everything, so maybe fifth or sixth video I already talked about what is terminal, what is prompt, what are shell, what are differences between prompt and terminal, syntax of prompt, everything in very detailed way. But you can think of this white screen what we are getting once we are logged in with some user. So this white screen known as terminal or console. Now Similarly, in one white screen or in one terminal, only one user can log in one white screen. Again, I'm repeating, in one white screen or one terminal, only one user can log in. But as I told you, Linux is a multi-user operating system. That what does means is, if only one user can log in or do their task in one white screen or one terminal, then we have to launch multiple white screen or multiple terminals for sure. That then only user one or user two and multiple users and can do their login and do their work. So every terminal or every this console white screen have their own name that is basically known as TTY. So the name may be PTS 0, PTS 1, TTY 0, something like that. How we can check those terminal names? There is a separate command for it. I'm gonna show it in the next or second next video. But yeah, you can think of like for multiple users, if you want to log in, they need multiple white screen or multiple terminals. And what TTY shows, it shows the name of those terminals basically. See, now it's showing us PTS 0. Why PTS 0? Because both this bash is also a program that is stored in the hard disk. But if we want to run the bash, we need to move the program to RAM. That's why it also become process. Now why we need to run bash? Again, there is video on my channel regarding what is bash, exactly how many types of bash are there. So you're gonna check it out, that video. So you come to know like why what is bash program, why we need to move it to RAM, because CPU only can read from the RAM. And if you want, if the program is moved like bash from hard disk to RAM, then it's known as process. In one line, if I want to explain you the use of bash program, so anything you want to do in Linux from the command line, that means from this prompt, or if you want to give some command to Linux OS, then bash is a program that will take your command as input and process your commands, and whatever the output it got, it will show as on your screen. Let's say I'm giving a command as input to the bash program, it will do the things and show the output. This is one thing. So this is the basic overview of PS. Now let me uh, tell you something more. So when we are booting the operating system again, so as you all know, the OS is again stored on hard disk, and OS is nothing but a multiple file. So all those files are stored on hard disk. So when we are running the OS, when the OS is shut down, the files are in hard disk. But as soon as we run the OS, all the files from hard disk move to the RAM. Then only this multiple programs we are able to see. Now, one of the programs that's stored in the bash operating system as a file is bash. Another you can think of like to work a mouse in your operating system, there is one program. So there is one program that helps us to use mouse, one program that helps us to take input, one program in operating system that will connect with our audio or video devices. Like if we want to switch on web camera, then there is a separate program for it. For audio speakers, if you want to interact with, there is another program. So for everything, we have every program in the operating system. All those will be moved to the RAM. This is one thing. But there is one more concept in Linux, that is a session leader process. Now all those are processes, but this is some like different type of process. Now what I mean is, so at a very beginning when we are booting the operating system, there is one top program. Under this program, we have multiple trees or multiple childs of this program. Let's say child 1, 2, 3, 4. Under this childs, we have another subchilds of program. So these all are the processes or the programs. Why program? Because program will move to the RAM, then it's known as process. So you can think of like program, not process. This is a hierarchy of process the Linux operating system follows. Under one program, we have multiple childs. Under those childs, we have multiple subchilds. So the first process or the first program that will move from the hard disk to the RAM when we start the operating system, or the first process, is systemd. This is the very first program that will start or move from hard disk to RAM. Now, what is this session leader? Same like we have the systemd program process. When we start a shell, now what I mean by shell is this white screen is shell. So if I close this terminal, let me close it, and as soon as I start this new terminal, so this new terminal or this new session is started. So behind this starting of one white screen or terminal, again there is one program in our hard disk. But as soon as we click on this button called like start my terminal, that program move from hard disk to RAM. and whatever the program that we are using to start this shell or to start this terminal or to see this terminal where we can run command, so that program will move from hard disk to RAM, and that process started from this program, which program that is helping us to start this terminal or console, that process on RAM is basically a session leader process. Now, what is the use of it? It's just for the management purpose. Let's say you have shell 1, and let's say here you have shell 2. Now shell means you can, if you want to know more in detail, you can watch that video of my fourth or fifth. But yeah, you can think of like terminal where we can run our user commands, or where user can give commands and they will see the output. So every shell is a program in hard disk, and to run a shell, that program move to the RAM, because CPU can only read from RAM. But behind this, the process in the RAM that started from this program, which program that will start this shell or terminal, so that process is known as session leader process. What I'm want to say here is, whenever you start a shell, this process always start. It's session leader process basically, and it's for management purpose. Why? Let's say shell 1 user root is login, and here let's say D Verma is login as a user. So this session leader process will manage sub child of process under them. Let's say child 1, child 2, child 3, 1, 2, 3, and this child will maintain sub child under them basically. So child, you can think of like date, cal, root is maintaining here, which command or any other command this user is maintaining under the session leader process. So it's easier for the management purpose, that whatever that user is running or whatever the process that user is running will, those processes always come under this big process, session leader process. So it's easy to manage. Let's say I want to check what are the processes that started by user. What I can do is I will found it this session leader process of that root user or this shell or terminal. Under that I can see multiple child process or sub-child process. Same for, I want to differentiate the processes of this dewormer and root. I will found it this session leader process. Under this we have multiple processes or childs. Using the username we can like filter it out. So it's for management basically. And there is always this session ID that I showed you in last command with the command called jobs-l. So there is always session ID. Now what is session ID? You can check out that video of top command. In that we have this jobs and other things. You can find that video. I will link it to description also. So whenever this session ID will become equal to this process ID, basically this is a rule, a formula you can use in college and other things. But what exactly or in the real life session leader processes I explained you. But if you want to talk into the theoretical world, then that session ID or process ID are equal, then that process is known as session leader process basically. Now let's discuss some of the options of ps command very quickly. So the first option we're gonna see is very interesting option, -a. -a will show all the process to us. Doesn't matter that is a session leader processes, or maybe the process is running on this terminal or on this terminal. Maybe we have multiple terminals till n. Not matter where the process is running, or that is a session leader process or not, it will show us all the processes. So ps and then capital -a, show all the processes. See, we have the cps command, somewhere sleep command, bash is again a process, genome is like a program, terminal program that will give us this white screen or terminal in the background. And if you want to see more, see ssh agent, this is another one process. What is the use of ssh, we're gonna see in upcoming videos. And let's say cron d is like another process that will help us to schedule some tasks. And let's discuss more. And if you go somewhere on the upside, see the very first process is systemd, as I told you. And if you see the pid, this is the very first process that started in the Linux operating system when we are booting this. So that was I want to tell you. Second, like I don't want to mess up the things, so second option we're gonna use is -d. It will show all the processes, but except the processes, which processes, the session leader process. If somebody tell you I don't want to see the session leader processes, then you can use this option called ps hyphen and come on ps hyphen d c. You will see a big list, but it will not showing as a session leader processes. Now what does it mean? See, you are not able to see a systemd process. Why? Because the very first process started a systemd. Under that process there are multiple processes that are required to run a operating system or to boot operating system. So that process is basically started by a session leader or the main manager. You can think of session leader is like a manager started the process. I don't want to see that process, that's why it's not there. Now let's say I want to see what I can say is like only there are multiple terminals, and on this multiple terminals here user 1 is working and here user 2 is working and user 3. I don't want to disturb user 2 and user 3. I am on this screen, basically I'm working on this screen, me myself is working on this screen. I want to see only processes associated to me or basically associated to this terminal. Which terminal? First terminal or first this console. I don't want to see processes that run by user 2 or processes run by user 3 on their respective terminals. So for that we have option number 3, that is hyphen capital T. It will show processes associated with the current terminal basically. So let's do this, and when I'm doing it, ps hyphen capital T C, only bash and psy bash, because bash is giving me this prompt that's prompting near you. uh, Basically not prompting, you can think of like command prompt, you will not get confused. Bash is like from here to here, so it's another program that comes under that will help us to take inputs and give us the output basically. So only associated program with this terminal I can see. Now the next program or the next option we can use is the hyphen u, that user. So any process you want to check associated with some specific user. Now there are multiple users, as I already told you. On this multiple terminals here, user 1 is working, user 2 or maybe user 3. Here let's say root, and let's say this is D Verma. I want to see not the user. If I want to see the root one, I want to use hyphen T, but I want to see this as not all. I don't want to see the process of this third terminal or third user. Again, not the current terminal. I want to see the process associated with this terminal. So how we can use is ps hyphen u and then username. Here I am giving root, but you can give any username. See, it's giving me process associated that started by the user called root. See, now the next option we can discuss is excuse me, hyphen capital C. So if you want to get some PID of process, now it's very interesting process, because the next video coming after this video is of on kill. We're gonna discuss multiple signals there and multiple commands. So if you want to get a PID of some process, then you can use hyphen C, and here you need to give a process name. So let's start some process. I want to start a process. Let's say before that, let me open one more terminal to show you the demo of this. So here I'm starting sleep 1000, and in the next terminal, what I'm doing is I'm doing ps hyphen capital C and then the process name, that is sleep. See, it given me the PID. Now there are two sleeps, so you can think of like it's one of his child process, but the main is this. It started on PTS0, that is the name of TTY. So that's how we can use hyphen capital C to get the PID of some basically any what say the process name. Now the next option we're gonna discuss is hyphen U. We discuss. Let's discuss with hyphen A. So you want to see basically all the process. So for that we have capital hyphen A, that will show leader session leader processes also. and all the terminals, maybe we have so many terminals, all the terminal processes along with session leader process, if you want to check, then we have capital hyphen A. But the use of small hyphen A is if you want to see the processes that are not associated or those are not session leader processes. First thing. Second thing is those are not associated with the terminal basically. So that's why we use hyphen small a. So let me quickly run this. See, so those are not associated with terminal. That means if you see a difference here, we are getting bash. So bash is associated with this terminal, or you can think of like bash is a program that's starting this terminal. I don't want to see this, but whatever I am running here, let's say inside this I am running this 1000. Now if I do ps, so to show you this, see we have bash ps, and if I do ps hyphen a, it's not giving you bash because that is that's starting a terminal you can think of. But whatever the terminal or whatever the processes we are running on this terminal, so those processes will be shown here to us in the hyphen small a. Now hyphen a you already know, hyphen you already know, hyphen x if you want to see, let's say what it will give you. So there are many options in ps, you can go and read them. So ps-x is shows us the processes even not associated with terminal. Now what does it means is it will show us process list in very detailed manner, and not only the terminals, even the processes started during a time of booting OS, those all we can show in the ps-x. Now as you all know, we can use multiple options together, so let me run ps-aux. See, now what AUX will do is it is giving all the processes that are associated with root. Why root? Let me explain you. Because you means the current user. If we don't pass any user here at this place, then it will take the current user. So the user it took up is root. All the processes running by the root user. Second, all the processes except the session leader and the terminal processes. Next means even the processes started during the boot time and not even like associated with any terminal. So that's why we can use multiple options together. And as you all know, we can use this pipe symbol, we can grab, and in grab I told you hyphen I option, we can use sleep to filter it out. Now what this hyphen I means is like non-interactive or like ignore case. Now if you want to know more in detail about grab or their options, so there is a separate video on channel. In that way I discuss multiple 5 to 7 options of grab, and those are very interesting. One of them is hyphen I, but you can check out that video. So that's how like all about the ps, we how do we can manage a process using a ps command and the options of ps command, what is the session leader processes, what is system D processes, what is TTY, everything is discussed in very detail. So if you like the video, please subscribe the channel, like the video, and if you have any doubts, you can post your doubts into the comment box. I will be happy to answer your doubts. Thank you.